Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Nick Baldwin, Regional Tech Trainer for the Michigan and Northern Ohio region for Keller Williams. Thank you for joining us today on KW Connect Live for Guest Strategic on social media. I've got two awesome guests with me today. I have Haley Roysum. Did I pronounce your last name right, Haley? All right, cool. I'm good at sounding things out. She is the marketing director for the Anderson Hicks Group in Idaho, the great state of Idaho. And I've also got Jessica Starr from the Starr Realty Group in Connecticut. And both are here because they are mastering social media ads through Command. And I'm super excited to have them with us. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, so let's just get right into it. So you both have two very different positions. Haley, you run the marketing department for your team, and Jessica, you're the rainmaker for your team, but you're still very involved with the type of marketing that your team is doing. So Haley, let me start with you. Talk to us a little bit about what you're doing for your team and how you're leveraging social media and exactly what role do you play being the head of the marketing department?
Okay. Yeah, so a lot of my work is through social media. I do a lot through Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We are trying to grow. Really, we've done a good job with our Facebook, and we're trying to grow our Instagram and YouTube currently. But I also run all of the events for our team, which is kind of the gig.
Awesome. No, that's good. That's good. I love that. I love that your team has that position, because we're going to talk a lot today about how to help agents get more creative with social media. And Jessica, so you're essentially the one that kind of drives the social media marketing on your team. You both are running paid ads and organic ads. So Jessica, talk to me a little bit about what some of your organic ads are looking like right now.
The organic stuff that we do has a lot to do with the groups that we run. So we do a lot in there, from video to marketing pieces that we create around small businesses to pieces we're creating around how we are implementing new systems to deal with the current public health concern, and just the ways that we're handling it. So we're trying to educate the consumer more. We're trying to build a story around any deal and piece of business that we're doing, as opposed to just, touting our sales and that kind of thing. We're letting them know we're having sales and yet creating a story behind it to educate them through the process. So that's how we're doing it, kind of organically. And then we're obviously spending money to do the Facebook ads as well, and really diving deep into that.
Okay, so what I heard you say was, obviously right now we are in a strange time, right? For everybody, and real estate, like any business, has to make a pivot. We've got to change the way we do certain things. Are kind of helping your agents do that. So you mentioned groups, right?
Right.
So that's what you're doing a lot of in terms of organic. So talk to us a little bit about if an agent wants to kind of pivot the way they're interacting with the community, because it's kind of hard to go out there and do that in person. How are you doing that through community groups?
So Deldy actually had a great idea to start a Stand Up to COVID-19 group, and I made it around Connecticut businesses. So we did that, and we encouraged friends. We had some contests to add people and, encourage friends to join. People were posting, the food they were ordering out. I started calling small business owners that were past clients of ours on our care calls, and kind of coaching them with some of the systems that Keller Williams has taught us and MAPS has taught us. So giving them some tips and tricks on social media stuff, from using hashtags and creating contests to different curbside pickup techniques that might work for them. And then telling them to create, their ambassadors, the people that can be their cheerleaders for their business, to encourage them as well and offer incentives and stuff like that, because people were kind of stuck like deer in headlights when this all hit everybody, and they didn't really know how to pivot and shift. And so, I needed to kind of push people to reinvent themselves and think differently. Have your acro fitness classes for the kids online and do crafts with them digitally. I know you had to shut down your studio, yet they could pay $10 to stream it, or you could pre-sell birthday parties for this fall, and I'll buy 4 of them for my kids since I have 4 kids that we're homeschooling right now. So this is fun. But, just trying to be different. And then, we were doing video with some of our financial planners. We have some on tap for, some of the business owners that own package stores and, that are hairdressers to do a potential haircut online and show people how to do that kind of fun stuff and just really be a resource for them. And, we just want to be in the community and want to help people kind of get back on their feet again.
Yeah. So, so what you're saying is, if agents, a great strategy for agents to take right now is, there's a lot of groups, obviously, right? And you started one that had a purpose. It was, about COVID-19, how to fight it, how to combat it. And then what I'm hearing is just kind of how to overcome COVID as a small business, right? So your physical doors might be closed, but that doesn't mean your digital doors should be closed. And so what I like that you're doing is during your care calls, you're making calls to these local businesses, some people that you did business with in the past, and you're kind of saying, hey, listen, can I share some ideas with you on social media, in terms of social media, with what's working for us, right? To kind of help them continue to stay afloat, maybe, do a $10 a month thing to stream class or whatever the case may be. So I love that. Groups are a great way to get in front of people, come up with a purpose, come up with a reason for the group. Don't just start any old group because there's so many of them, right? Have a real clear vision for it. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. And I think, one of the nice things was we had a client that owns a little pizza shop, and she had her house on the market with us. Everything changed. They weren't able to, have people in the restaurant anymore. And I just had her on my heart, and I kept thinking about her. She's actually really good with social media and Instagram. And I said, Steph, you know what? People are at home. I've been thinking about you guys. I've been really thinking about specific businesses and how I can help them and getting creative. And I said, people are at home and they want stuff to do. And yes, they'll order out. And you've been offering great family meal plans, which a lot of people are doing. So we're promoting that too to support those businesses. But I said, why don't you get more creative with it? She said, what do you mean? I said, why don't you do a make your own pizza box that you can pick up curbside pickup from Luna Pizza? I said, do hashtag Luna loves you, hashtag West Hartford Pizza, right? She started doing that. They weren't going to buy their next house. They were going to move in with their in-laws. Instead, they're now buying a $500,000 house because business went up more than it was, which is amazing. I'm so excited for them. And now they're encouraging other people to do stuff like that too. So the point was, I said, the only thing you could do for me is just pay it forward to somebody else.
That is so amazing and a great way to build relationships right now when people need that more than ever. I'm going to come back to that in a second. But Haley, I want to talk to you about, in your role, you're not only creating content for your agents, but you're also coaching them. Like Jessica is coaching local businesses, you're helping to coach agents on your team. And some of the things that you were saying that you do is, when they're onboarded on your team, you have like this marketing 101 course that they have to go through, right? Can you talk a little bit about what that entails?
Yeah, so there's actually 3 parts to it. We talk about Facebook, Instagram, and Nextdoor. And if you guys aren't on Nextdoor, you need to be. That's an awesome up and coming emerging social site. It's like Facebook for your neighbors. So if you aren't on there, get on there. It's awesome. It was actually started by real estate agents, so you can sponsor things really cheaply if you're a realtor, which is cool. But those are the 3 counterparts to our onboarding. We talk about tips and tricks for Facebook, how to get the most exposure for free. I know that you don't always want to pay for engagement. It can get expensive. So if you know the right tips and tricks to get you that engagement, for instance, live videos get more engagement than just a plain old video. And a video gets more engagement than a photo, and a photo gets more engagement than text. So you can kind of do things that way where that's kind of what I'm there to coach them with, because they are a part of our team. I don't necessarily want to teach them that they have to pay for engagement.
Lead with revenue now as much as you can.
Yeah. Well, I love that you brought up Nextdoor, because a lot of our technology is driven by Nextdoor, in the sense that on our KW websites and our KW app, the neighborhood search function it comes from the Nextdoor app. So it is very important to know Nextdoor for 2 reasons. One, to get involved in a community. If you if your neighborhood already doesn't have one, create one. And if it does have one, join it and become familiar with how Nextdoor works, because that'll help you become even more familiar with the way our technology at Keller Williams works. So it's twofold there. So I love that. So what are you teaching them? Yeah, I love the live videos and the Instagram. So what are you teaching them to do differently on each platform? Because every platform has a place, right? So Instagram versus Facebook. So what's that look like? What should agents be doing differently on the platforms?
I always tell our agents, use the platform for what they're supposed to be used for. So Facebook is all about communication. It's about engaging with your friends and talking to your friends, socializing online. Instagram is a visual place. It's supposed to be for photos and videos. Make sure that that's what you're using it for. Nextdoor, obviously, same thing, communication, YouTube, videos, Twitter, news. Like, make sure that you're using the platforms for what they're supposed to be used for. I know way too many companies try and do like a one size fits all, where they'll create like one piece of content and put it on all of their platforms. And that's really efficient, but it's not necessarily like working.
A great book for people to check out is Jab, 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 Right Hook by Gary Vaynerchuk. And the book's about 10 years old, but it's like the Bible of social media. And it's still the same techniques still hold true today, that each platform has a purpose. So make sure that you're posting appropriately. You also said that you keep in touch with your agents through a Slack channel, giving them daily tips that way to keep them in the loop. So what would some of those daily tips look like?
The most recent one that I did was, if you're doing an engaging post, don't ask too many questions or have like too many decisions. So you'll see an engagement post where people do like, would you rather have this kitchen or this kitchen, which is great. You don't want to have more than 2 to 4 options, because then decision fatigue and they're just going to pass by your post. But if you have those 2 to 4, people are way more willing to give their opinion, and people love to give their opinions. So it makes it way easy to get engagement on those kind of posts, but don't give them too many options.
So that's good. So that's like an engagement type post, like which kitchen do you prefer, things of that nature. And by the way, as simple as that sounds, like people do engage with that. Or what do you think of this fireplace or of this backyard? People will definitely tell you what they think, because everybody has an opinion. So that's awesome. So that's great for organic, if you want to get organic, organic traffic. So let's talk about some paid ads. Jessica, why don't you kick it off? What type of paid ads? You're all in on Command with your paid ads. Haley, you're running ads through Command as well. Jessica, what are some paid ads that are working for you now, and how have you had to kind of pivot a little bit of them based on the current situation we're in as a country?
Well, we actually just started our paid ads a little more than 49 days ago. It's probably like 59 days ago now. And the funny thing about it was we started them just before we kind of got shut down here in Connecticut. So the first open house we did from the paid ads, can I give the background on that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. It's funny.
So we ran an open house ad on Facebook. And I'll tell you the other story too that he's saying is funny. So the open house ad on Facebook we ran was for a 550 property in Avon, Connecticut. And we had 20 groups through. It was the second open house we did, so it wasn't the first. And 3 of those people signed up with us. 3 of them made an offer on the house. 1 of them got it. And then they also had us list their house too, which is great. So that was one of the last open houses we could actually do. That was a physical open house. So we were doing the potential digital open houses, promoting them that way with our 360 tours. And we were also doing the attract buyer ads with our listings as well. We've run a total of 19 campaigns. We have spent $863. We cut back expenses everywhere else and dumped more money into ads. And we dumped more money in, but clearly that's not a massive budget or anything like that for a couple months, really. Yet we wanted to play with it to see what the results would be like, because we were unsure. So we didn't want to dump a lot, but we wanted to put just enough in. So we basically are running them at $40 for 10 days straight. So it's $4 a day. That's all we're spending. And so far we have signed 7, and by the end of the day, it'll be 8 new buyers. and one listing. And the total commission from the 7 buyers and one listing is 80,000. And we've already pended of that 80, 25 that's set to close. So $25,000 is set to close from $863 spent. We're finding much more luck in the higher price points with these ads, which is great. And why Nick said this is funny is the reason we started these ads was I remember sitting at family reunion and Josh Team on stage talking about this girl. This one was not me though, that had run an ad at some point and didn't realize she had all these leads in there. And I look at my assistant and my one of my top agents that's sitting with me, and I go, wait a second, we ran an ad back in November, spent about $92, our market center fee. And I don't remember seeing any leads from this. Where did these leads go? And so when they showed us on the screen where the leads were, I'm quickly pulling it up. And I was like, oh, we have 42 leads in here we never got back to. So all of a sudden we came back and it was like, that's it. We're spending money. We're getting into Command because clearly it works and clearly we know how to market. I do have a marketing degree, so that's helpful. And, so it worked out well.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember when they told this story on stage at family reunion, Gary was like, oh, this agent called and she was furious about there were contacts in her database and they weren't hers. And when the support team did some digging, they realized she had run some ads and didn't know that these leads were coming in. And then she was ecstatic. I thought that was hilarious because you had the same kind of, light bulb.
That stupid, silly agent. And then I'm like, I'm not too proud. Let me go look to see.
So funny. It's so funny. So let's talk about how, so there's a question over here. Sylvia wants to know, can both of you give us a little example of the look and feel of the ads that you're running? So Haley, you're creating a lot of content for your agents. So what does some of that content look like for them to post on social media?
Does she want to know like in regards to Command? I guess I could do both.
Yeah, so talk about organic, like the stuff that you're building for them. So let's start with that. And then what do some of the ads look like that you're running through Command?
Okay. Yeah. So a lot of our like free stuff, I find like funny memes and kind of rip them off.
Okay.
Like, sorry, that's just who I am.
Yeah.
So like during the winter, we had the worst potholes. And so I like made like a little Canva. If you guys aren't using Canva, it's a free resource, super cool for like basic graphic design for your Facebook. But yeah, I created like a little thing on Canva that said 3-bed, 1-bath pothole on the corner of 17th and Ammon, $100,000, call ADHD for more details. Like it was just like a super corny pothole joke, but we got so much engagement from that. I think we ended up with like 90 shares just on that little meme. And then it had like 175 likes. So stuff like that where like people can relate to it and it's super funny, but like clean, I would say is awesome, free.
Well, what I love about that is that shows personality. And by the way, it doesn't always have to be about real estate. It could be something funny, right? Because you're staying top of mind that way. So that's great. Okay. And so then like some of the ads that you're running through Command, just listed, just sold, things like that. What do those ads tend to look like? And what is the ad copy? What do we see with the ad copy? What's that read?
Okay. Yeah. So I looked it up last night after we had our call because I was interested in our stats. I don't follow them as well as Jessica does. I know that she has got a ton of like stats in Excel. Cool stuff that she does, but
well, that's okay. Well, Jessica's the rainmaker. So that she has to do that. But you're creating the marketing pieces, so it's a different position.
It's different, yeah. Yeah. So we've spent $1,900 on Command ads year to date, and then that has produced 853 leads for us. And we've gotten 44 appointments out of that. So
what? Wow.
Really good engagement. We spend $30 per ad and we run it for about 5 to 7 days, depending on.
Okay. And so those are just listed. Now you guys are saying just listed. Okay. And you're saying that the best performing ads are typically single property home listings, right?
Yep. And our ad copy looks something like, have you seen the light fixture in the living room? Something that makes them want to click on the photos, because that's what's going to get you their information. Like, check out the ceiling in the master bedroom, or did you see the brand new flooring in the kitchen? Stuff like that will help. It's clickbait. You want people to click on.
Right. Hey, so Jessica, I'm going to go to you in a second, but somebody is asking, if they don't have a listing, what should they do to attract buyers and sellers? I mean, I have a suggestion. I'm sure there's agents in your office that if you went to them and said, do you mind if I spend $50 to market your listing? I'm pretty sure they'd say yes. You know what I mean? So ask around, right? Or go to your website, your KW website, and advertise like new homes listed in this neighborhood. Because with IDX, you can advertise a list of homes, but you can't advertise a listing individually that isn't yours without permission. So there's some ideas. Do you guys have any other ideas?
Yeah. This week, we're going to be running a buyer seminar ad. We're going to be running a Homes for Heroes ad, a Keller Mortgage ad.
Okay.
Just to do some different things. And even when you have, you're running a list of somebody else, what you can.
Well, Jessica's connection is it Jessica's connection? It's not mine, right, Haley?
Off based on using Keller Mortgage.
She's back. Hey, Jessica, your connection was a little shoddy, so can you? That's okay. Repeat that. We got Homes for Heroes. We'll get into that in a minute. Keller Mortgage is a great one. In designs, you can find some great stuff about Keller Mortgage. Home buyer seminars, things like that.
You could also do one, not only home buyer seminars, but you could also do home staging seminars too.
Okay.
Which we have on the list as well. And, home staging, home repair seminars. You could also do one-on-one video, advertise like videos, but Eventbrite logins for people so you can't get their contact info. That's the biggest thing. If you're just doing it for free, you're not getting their contact info, right? And you want to add that to your database.
Yep.
So if you did, just the repairs, you could have a contractor with you on a Zoom call and saying, hey, these are the typical repairs we find when people go to list their homes. If you want to fix them, it's typically a cost of about X, Y, and Z. Yeah. So you could have them in a Zoom call and like a pick their brain kind of session for potential new listings and sellers coming on, right? And then having them offer a 10% discount for using Star Realty Group and being on this Zoom call. Just make sure you mention this and we'll give you 10% off.
I love that idea. Hey, somebody's saying that she recently, or they, I'm not sure, they're anonymous, created their first ad. They got 8 leads in the first 3 days, but 6 were bogus info. So here they're asking if that's normal. So here's my take on that, right? With Facebook, it's about quantity, right? So we heard that Haley's team generated like 800 something leads and set 44 appointments, right? Jessica spent $800 and something and got 7 signed buyers and 1 listing. It's all about quantity. And the great thing about it is you don't need to spend that much to get the quantity. So 8 leads is definitely not enough, in my experience from running Facebook ads for the last 4 years, not enough to really determine if it's working. You've got to get at least 50, 75, 100 leads in there to really start figuring out if that's working for you. Would you agree, or do you have another take on that?
Sure. I think you're right on that, and that's why we're running the leads we're running. And I think I'm going to look to see what Haley did and see how many like nurtures and overall contacts we've had. I know I have that on the spreadsheet somewhere, because I think knowing the total number of nurtures, that's just the people that we've actually signed. That's not all the appointments. That's not all the nurtures that we have going on.
Right. So they're running ads through Facebook. They're running ads through Command. I'm addressing some questions here. They're running ads through Command, and so Command allows you to choose the lead gen option, which collects contact information on that consumer through Facebook. So if unless the consumer changes their contact information before submitting, or the contact information is outdated, it's going to be inaccurate. But I'm finding that at least 80 to 90% of the contact info I get, either email or phone or both, tends to be correct. That's just in my experience.
You can also, like sometimes with any internet lead, I remember years ago during the other shifts with Craigslist and with other internet leads that would come in, take that email address, put it in the search bar in Facebook, right?
Yes.
And then see what comes up with that to see if that name is correct. Then take that email or that cell phone and put it in the app called Forewarn and see what info comes back from that. Then use it and reverse prospect on the whitepages.com. So you can cross-reference like 2 or 3 different ways to see if you've got the right info. And, you know, they might have put in that their name is Nick Baldwin, and you call them and you're like, hey, Haley, thanks so much for registering on the site. They're like, how did she really know what my name was?
Yeah. Do you want to know another little hack? If you have an iPhone. If you have an Android, get an iPhone. If you take the email address and put it into iMessage and it turns blue, that means you can text them.
Yeah. Yep.
If you don't have a phone number, or if the phone number is incorrect, you can try iMessage. So a little hack there. All right. So let's move on a little bit. Okay. So the paid ads you're showing just listed, just sold. Haley, you're saying things like, hey, check, click more to see this beautiful kitchen. Things of that nature. You have to have a call to action. Just a little bit of advice for everyone. If you're advertising a listing, don't put the property address in the description, because they will copy and paste it and go to Zillow. Yeah. You want to just give enough information about the house with a click more below for photos, info, and price. Virtual buyer seminars, higher price points are doing better for Jessica. And we talked about the ad copy. Jessica, I don't think I talked about your ad copy. So what type of stuff are you saying in your ads?
It's kind of similar stuff, like, check out this amazing master bath. Don't you deserve to relax after a long day? And aren't the kids driving you nuts? I wouldn't mind a soak here. Like, you just make something so that it's going to be catchy. Yeah. Like, have you been looking for this outdoor she shed or backyard retreat? Like, this is it. We have a place where they have an outdoor entertaining area, and we're getting a lot of hits on it. And it was a pool that they had filled in, and they had a pergola in the back, and they named the pergola the Deep End. So we're like, welcome to the Deep End. Come and hang out and have a party. And you see this whole pergola, and it's so fun and set up. So people love it.
That's great. Or like, hey, you don't like your current quarantine? Sell it and buy this new place to quarantine. Like, but you got to be in the moment, don't you think?
Yeah. You know what? And I was just on a Zoom this morning, and it's all about the words that you use. So I've chosen to stop calling it quarantine. And I had said to friends one day, I'm like, yeah, we've been in captivity for 6 weeks now. And yeah, I think it's important.
That's so funny. Somebody's asking about demographics and building your audience. So in my opinion, it really depends on the house for some of it. But for the other half, I think you can use some of the interests and targeting over again. But Haley, when you're targeting on Facebook using command, what are you usually using for your target audience, depending on the property? Like what do some of those targets look like?
We just do everything within Idaho Falls. We don't really focus on the demographics. It's more in their interests. Okay. So
right, that's what I meant. So the interests, yeah. So
Zillow, TruliaRealtor.com. The way that those work is Facebook obviously tracks our information. We know that. If they see that you've logged into your Zillow app or you've logged into Zillow.com, they will start marketing ads towards you that have Zillow listed as an interest. So we want to target those. So we look at Zillow, TruliaRealtor.com, mortgage calculator, mortgage broker, lender, things like that are what we're focused on our interests.
And just so people watching understand, to reiterate, like, as long as you have your Facebook open on your browser or you have your Facebook app open on your phone, Facebook is tracking you and they know what other sites that you're visiting. Ooh, shocker, big brother, right? Yeah. So when you are using Zillow as a target interest, it's targeting people that have gone to Zillow to look at homes, right? So everything that you're clicking to use as a target audience, it knows that person has done something along those lines. So Jessica, you showed us your spreadsheet and you have very specific targets depending on the house itself. So like for a higher price point house, like what would you typically do?
You could do, can I pull it up? It's going to be easier for me to pull it up and look at it. Honestly, you could do some of the custom features of the home if you really wanted to. You could do whether that's, custom woodwork, you could do custom remodeling, you could do types of, features in the home, whether that was waterfall countertops, Carrara marble. You could get really detailed on it. You could do Jeff Adler lighting. Get very specific on what they like. And if it's a high-end design and you know that like that person in particular is a desirable designer or architect, or, Jack Kemper design colonial, well, we're going to put those keywords in, because in case somebody happens to be looking that up, architecture, design, we're putting those in because we want that to rank. And we're noticing a higher price point buyer is coming in because of how they're seeing these ads, because of how much detail. I mean, you saw the expert targeting we put in is pretty lengthy. So
yeah, I mean, here's the thing with Facebook and Ads Manager through Command. So Facebook did get into some trouble for having target interests there that may have been fair housing violations. So when you're targeting an ad through Command, Facebook has created this system for us where we don't have to worry about any of that, right? So you can't target, age, religion. You can't target any of that. You can't target zip code, but you can target interests. So if you have $1 million listing, you're going to want to target like luxury property, luxury vehicles, things that people who typically like more expensive homes will like as well. Would you agree?
Yeah. So think of the marketing mindset. You have to think like every home you list, I always try to kind of profile it. Who's going to be moving into this house, right? Well, okay, so if it's a luxury buyer, let's say, you're going to have somebody that's going to have a different interest. They might like yachting. They might like boating. They might be golfers, country club, equestrian, winery. Like, think of stuff that they might like. So those interests, tag them. Because does this have an amazing wine cellar? Great. Well, you're going to want to tag that, right? Or, even great wineries that are to this region, tag that, tag Chardonnay, tag whatever, the hot wine is, Pinot Noir, tag that. But
yeah, so I was talking to a mega agent in my market yesterday about this, and he goes, what if I want to get in front of doctors? I go, well, you can't get in front of you can't use right. You can't do job type, but you can in some instance, but if you want to get in front of doctors by targeting luxury type interests, you're going to, by default, get in front of doctors,
And what you can do is radius too. So pick your listings. So what I might do is I might pick my listings that were near Hartford Hospital. So I might pick my listings that are in the Farmington Valley and West Hartford and Simsbury and Glastonbury. And I'm going to pick a 15-mile radius because it's actually pretty broad. And it'll hit those people because they have to be in 15 to 20-minute radius of the hospital.
Love it. Love it. Well, this has been super amazing. I learned a ton. And I hope everyone watching learned a ton. I think it's going to be impossible if you didn't learn something. But there's always more to be. There's always more of a conversation to be had with social media. There's so much changing and so many things to learn. And that's the thing. Just go and go on YouTube. Pick people's brains like Jessica and Haley. We're in a company that shares. That's our culture. So don't be afraid to ask. Join some groups. You could join Command Your Conversion. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but it's a group that I run about Command. Jessica helps run. Well, you run the Profit Share group, so that's a great one. And Haley, any Facebook or social media groups that you suggest or that you run yourself or that people could join to learn some stuff?
Ours are all local, but there's
cool.
There's some KW Marketing Mastermind ones. I know that there's a great deal that I'm a part of. So yeah, there's a lot. People share a lot.
Well, I appreciate you guys being here. It's been a lot of fun, and I hope everyone got some value. And awesome. Have a great day, everybody.
It was fun. Thanks so much for having us.